field that you want to pursue, get some advice from them directly. So inshallah, we wish you all the best, and may Allah reward you for your efforts and give you istiqamah and keep you firm on the deen. And yeah, if you got any questions, you can reach out to Brother Adnan Rashid or email us, inshallah, and we should be able to help you out privately, inshallah, as well.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair. May Allah
Okay.
bless you.
Right. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, Brother Bashir, you want on next?
Yeah, bring him in.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, how are you?
I'm doing all right. So I'm not sure if you guys know or remember, but assalamu alaikum, Brother Adnan. I just watched your videos. I'm an ex-Qadiani, a Muslim now, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
We've watched it with great attention, taking notes, finding all the references, and etc. But I did have some questions about that. Muslims, like the general Muslim scholar, isn't versed in Qadiani arguments and etc. So, but you had mentioned that the Ex-Ahmadi was an excellent book, and that's simply not the case. It's in that book he makes one argument. He promised 300 arguments, but he makes one, and the one argument is he's a prophet. So it's like the ulama immediately did takfir on him. Only one person defended him, and that's who they quote. That was just like a school fellow, his friend Batalvi wrote that review. Yeah.
In Ex-Ahmadi, he didn't make the argument that he's a prophet. No, it was published in 1887 in Amritsar. He was nowhere near claiming to be a prophet at that time. He claimed to be a prophet, or he declared his alleged prophethood in 1902.
1901.
So, Brahine Ahmadiyya basically was a defense of Islam. It was supposed to be, as you rightly pointed out, that there were supposed to be many more arguments, but he came up with this, and he spent a lot of money. He raised money from the Muslims. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
so when I praised the book, I didn't mean the book is perfect. There is no perfect book. Okay. It is very nicely published. It is a very nice print. I can even pull it out from my library right now. I have the first edition in my library. Okay. And there are certain places that he makes good arguments. But at the same time, when Qadianis or Ahmadis try to use my statement to claim as if I am praising Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, they don't know what they're doing. They are very inconsistent. They are experts. To my experience, they are experts of cutting and pasting and ignoring the context. For example, now, if I was to praise Hitler, let's say, as an absolutely mesmerizing orator, am I endorsing his actions?
No.
Anyone who knows oratory and public speaking in the history of humanity, you will put Hitler somewhere in top 20, top 10. As a speaker, as a public speaker, but he was an evil man. He was an evil man, despite the fact that he had these abilities that he used for evil ends. Doesn't make his entire life worthy of praise. So, likewise, I mean, let's give you more controversial example. Salman Rushdie. Okay, are you going to tell me that the guy doesn't know how to write? Are you going to tell me that his English is not good? He doesn't have a good command on the English language? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The guy has a good command on the English language, but he used his command to do evil things.
Right.
Okay. Likewise, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani had done some good work, no doubt. Okay. But at the same time, he used his good works to claim something he had no right to claim. He used his fame he had gained from debating Arya Samaj, and also some Christians. He got some gain. I mean, like nowadays, if you start debating Christians on a major level, okay, naturally Muslims will get to know you. You will go around the world. You will debate people. You will raise questions. You will respond to their attacks. You will become somewhat like a hero of Islam. Okay, people will start to see you as someone in positive light, or they will start to look up to you. this is what happened in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. He was initially defending Islam against the attacks of Arya Samaj and some Christian missionaries who were backed by the British government at the time. But then he himself did something worse than what those people were doing. He
Right, and can sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
so I researched this. Like, so there's new information that's came out about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. So for example, in that book, Brahini Ahmadiyya, it's in English. It wasn't in English until like 10 years ago or like 7 years ago. Brother, he's claiming verses of the Quran about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, chapter 61:9, 48:28, 9:33. This is where he says he is the same as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, astaghfirullah. But in that book, he's saying that. And brother, in fact, the ulama of India, I think almost a lot of people did a takfir on him immediately after the fourth publishing of Brahini Ahmadiyya, which was 1884. So he only got defended by one guy, and they bring that up. But yeah, no worries. I understand it, and all sensible Muslims understand it. But they've been cutting that from, I think, Dr. Israr Ahmed has a piece of his speech where he says that also. And okay, so about the Christians,
this is the problem. They always do this. Now,
Right.
You see, in my 3 hours conversation with this gentleman called Ibrahim, okay, I mentioned this passingly, just as a side point, that his book has good things in it. It is a good book. Okay, I mean, many people disagree with that. Of course, I understand why they disagree with that, because then there are certain pages that are blank and there is only one word on one page. I have the actual book with me, so there are a lot of stupid things about the book as well, no doubt.
some of the font is really big. Some of the font in volume 1 is like
Yeah.
there's 20 words on the page.
Yeah. So look, when I praised that particular work, I'm not saying every single thing in it is great. I'm saying it has good arguments in it. It would have been good book otherwise if he had not claimed to be a prophet. One could, say, okay, this is a book in defense of Islam. Okay, he's defending Islam against the enemies of Islam. So it could stand like a book, you could say, was written in defense of Islam. But later on, his later actions and his later claims and his absurdities and his visions and his absolute madness,
Right.
when he's
I
claiming to
totally
be
agree.
Isa alayhi salam, when he's claiming to be Maryam and Islam,
And
and he's
Krishna.
claiming to be pregnant, all these things. Okay, the guy was not right in the head. He was not,
Right.
obviously, he was mentally unstable. Okay?
Yeah, so let me go a little deeper. So in 1891, he claimed to be the Messiah, et cetera, and he denied prophethood. For 10 years, he said, I'm not a prophet, I'm a muhaddis. So Noonan had brought up that the first Khalifa is the muhaddis. That never happened.
No.
He never made no claim.
Let me add to something there. He actually said that I send lanat upon the one who claims to be a prophet.
He did, yes.
He
For 10
actually
years.
wrote it at this time, the period you're referring to. He actually said that हम उस शख्स पर लानत भेजते हैं जो नबूवत का दावा करता है.
Right.
Okay.
Then all of a sudden he starts saying, well, so it's a funny story. He says anyone can be a prophet. He says a conjurer can even be a prophet. He says just all you got to do is repeat chapter 1, I think it's verse 6 or 7, guide us on the right path. He says we're asking to be prophets every day. Astaghfirullah. No one can become a prophet. You can't achieve it. You got to be born it, right? So anyhow, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, what he did was really bad, because if you know about the situation with the Hindus and Rangila Rasul, which was written in 1927, that was written in response to the Qadianis. So the Qadianis were fighting the Hindus. Why are you fighting the Hindus, bro? They're in the situation that we're in. They're on our side for freedom. Why are you attacking the Arya Samaj who are anti-government? You shouldn't be attacking them. So that whole thing with the Hindus, some people shouldn't try to represent Islam. You know what I mean? You're gonna make an embarrassment of all of us. So you should just not. Okay, so then there was
this makes sense when you look at the British tactics to divide and rule. Okay, in India, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani was one of those tools, you can say, they tried to use to divide the Muslims and Christians and Hindus so that they don't politically unite. Put so much hatred between them that they cannot politically unite. to do away with the British. And as we know clearly from his works, he praised the British Empire, the British government, in particular Queen Victoria, with lavish tributes.
Yeah,
With
he
lavish
called
tributes.
he called her the Khalifa of the Muslims.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember, because this is, I read this a long time ago. Okay, he even called the British government or Queen Victoria a blessing of God.
But yeah, he did. He did.
A blessing of God, a blessing of Allah. So imagine, this is the most cruel political establishment to date. To date, okay, the British Empire was the worst empire. You know why? Because it was the most organized in inflicting disasters and catastrophes.
Yeah, well, so let me tell you how the British helped them. The British helped them open up a mission in Israel, in Kababir, in Haifa. They got him into West Africa. They got him into East Africa. They took him around the world. They got him into America. When they got into America, it was the British who helped with the visa. So, okay. What about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan? You know, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad took like 90% of his Aqidah from Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who said there's no angels, there's no day of judgment, there's none of that. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad took all of that exactly from him. So, okay. Ibn Abbas, I just want to clarify what that was. Ibn Abbas said that Inni Mutawafika could mean Mumituka in the future. He said wa in chapter 3, verse 55 is out of sequence. It doesn't imply sequence. It doesn't mean he's going to die first and then Rafaelka. He said it could happen the other way. So that was the whole Ibn Abbas thing. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad did not give context when he quoted Ibn Abbas, which is not even in the Sahih of Bukhari. It's in a chapter heading. It's literally a chapter heading.
Look, the question I ask is that why even debate this point? It was never debated in the history of Islam like the Ahmadis do. Okay, why? You know why? To prove Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani to be a prophet of God. It is all for him. It is all for him. I mean, if he hadn't claimed to be a prophet, there would be no discussion.
Well, the Lahori
didn't have to die. They had to kill him.
Right.
Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani had to kill Isa alayhi salam for him to be the reincarnation or the rebirth of the Messiah from another woman called Chiragh Bibi. But amazingly, the Hadith literature repeatedly says that it will be Ibn Maryam. It will be Ibn Maryam who will return. Isa,
which is a unique name.
Ibn Maryam.
No one else has that name.
La yanzilanna Isa ibn Maryam.
Right.
Adilan hakaman or hakaman adilan. Hakaman adilan. The hadith in Sahih Muslim, I was reading from the book.
Right.
That, I mean, he had this hadith from Sahih Muslim in his book, using it against us as if this proves the case. But if you read it carefully, every single word dismantles the claims of Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. For example, the first thing is, it says he will descend. Instead of saying he will be born, it says he will descend. And who will descend? Ibn Maryam, not Ibn Chiragh Bibi. Not Ibn Chiragh Bibi, okay? So when this point is raised, I don't know why our Ahmadi friends cannot understand this. There is a huge distinction. When Allah calls him Ibn Maryam, you cannot mess with his return. You can't question it, because Allah sealed the matter. Calling him Ibn Maryam means the one
no one else
who
like
was
him.
born of Maryam, not the one who was born in Qadian of Chiragh Bibi.
Right.
You understand? So Ibn Maryam means it will be Ibn Maryam coming down, not the son of Chiragh Bibi. Right? This is one of the points that, yeah.
They don't agree on the birth of Isa alayhi salam either. They say, astaghfirullah, that Maryam was a hermaphrodite. Astaghfirullah.
Oh my.
Astaghfirullah.
And the other sect, the Lahori Ahmadis, who deny the prophethood of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, they say that Isa alayhi salam, astaghfirullah, had a biological father. So both of these sects of Qadianism are all messed up. I grew up in it. We had no idea what any of it was. I grew up in California. I'm like 44 years old. The books didn't come into English till like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So So hey, I also want to talk about that quote, Zururat al-Bagaya. So that is in a book that is Urdu, but you know sometimes they add two books into one. They mashed the Arabic book, his first ever Arabic book, into this Urdu book, and in that Arabic book, which was meant for the Arabic world, Arab-speaking world, which was not really British India, he was telling them, "Hey, look, everyone's accepting me except the worst people, etc., etc." So okay, let me see what else. So
look, I am willing to entertain any one of them at Speaker's Corner on Sunday. I've already put a comment out on my video that anyone who is willing to take me up on these quotes or challenge me on these quotes or the veracity of our translation or the translation we have chosen, okay, I will substantiate every single one of them, whether the quotes are in Arabic or Urdu. This is the game a lot of them play because there are plenty of Urdu quotes. Let's say, okay, this one, Zurriyatul Baghaya, it is in Arabic, but I will show them plenty of Urdu quotes where Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani was obsessed with calling people bastard children. You know, he called the Arya Samaj bastard children. He used this term, Waladul Haram, against them. Waladul Haram, literally, I mean, let's say Arabic, okay? Dhurriyatul Baghaya, they can play games with that term, okay? Because the term Baghaya can be translated in a number of ways, okay? But what are you going to do with the term Waladul Haram? Okay, Waladul Haram means a bastard child, right? So that term has been used repeatedly by him in Arabic and also in Urdu, right? In Urdu writings. And he's not using it against one group. He used it against Arya Samaj. He used it against Christians. He used it against Muslims who did not accept his claims. Okay? So this man was obsessed with accusing chaste women of unchastity. Islamically speaking, when you accuse a woman of unchastity, okay, of being a baghi, or let's say a prostitute or kanjri, whatever you want to call her, right? You will be taken to the Qadi and you will be asked to produce 4 witnesses. And if you can't, then there will be had punishment against you, and your testimony will never be accepted for the rest of your life. So on that, by that virtue, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani loses his credibility completely by the fact that he accused chaste women of unchastity. Now,
right.
How do I know these women were chaste? Because many of them had died before he claimed to be a prophet. Okay, he's cursing the children, right? He's cursing the Arya Samaj, the Christians, and the Muslims who don't accept him. He's cursing the children by cursing the mother, that you are all waladul haram. You are children of basically haram, illicit relationships. So you're calling their mothers basically prostitutes or illicit, women. So now you have to prove your case in a court, and if you can't, your testimony is rejected. So
right.
How can you even be a noble, moral, trustworthy Muslim, let alone a prophet? Let alone a prophet. This is a very important point Ahmadis have to, grapple with. How can you prove Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani to be a moral Muslim man, let alone a prophet of God? This is the point I'm making, right? They bring these references from the Quran and the Sunnah and they say, oh, the Prophet said this, Abu Bakr said this, Allah said this. We are talking about specifically Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani calling the mothers of many people prostitutes. He's calling them baghi or baghaya, for example. Okay, so there is no escape. There is no escape. There is no way out of this.
Yeah, they've actually said that to me, bro. They've said that to me on live streams. My brother said it. We got the audio. It's a crazy situation, brother. Please pray for me. I tell all the Muslims that I come into contact with. I got a lot going on. So okay. So just some other things about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. He never led the prayer. You had mentioned that it said in the hadith that Isa alayhi salam would tell the Imam Mahdi, you lead the prayer. So Mirza Ghulam Ahmad used that, and he never led the prayers at Qadian. So like that really shocked me. He doesn't lead the prayer, right?
He's never been for Hajj either, is that right?
Never went to Hajj. Never went to Hajj.
I mean, these are the, what do you say, pillars of your deen, the 5 pillars, and he didn't complete one of them, even though he could have.
Yeah, and he's sitting around doing nothing in Qadian. I mean, let's be open about this. He's not. It's not like he's living the lives that we live in America, where we're on the hamster wheel the whole time.
I'll tell you what, Brother Adnan, why don't you put on your community page on your YouTube a challenge for the Qadianis to come? I know you have said it in the videos, but most of these videos, they probably just goes under the radar. So put it more prominent on your social media.
That I'll be there in the park on Sunday, and any Qadiani, Ahmadi, Imam, scholar, a learned man who wants to challenge me on those quotes. Why those quotes? Why? Okay, why? It is not a trivial matter. A man calling the mothers of other people prostitutes, okay, or loose women, to use the polite term, okay, cannot be a moral Muslim, let alone a prophet of God. That's the argument. That's the argument. Okay. Right. Before you get to Mutawaffika, before you get to the death or life of Isa alayhi salam, before you get to all those issues which they love to debate for a reason, okay, because they know they cannot defend the person of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. They cannot defend his person, right?
Yeah.
So
put a challenge out on your Instagram, on your community page, and on Twitter. Inshallah, that should get their attention.
Okay.
And final question, because I know you guys got a whole show and a lot going on. I don't want to take away your time. What were your initial thoughts on Jesus in India? The Jesus in India theory, the Yuz Asif, chapter 2350 is what they use. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Well, I don't know why they came up with this. It doesn't make sense, right? There is no evidence for Jesus. I mean, look, even to ask for evidence for something like this is just absolutely crazy. I mean, one of the things they always come up with is the Turin shroud as well. I don't know if you've come across that.
Yeah.
Okay, that has been shown to be a forgery by most academics, most historians. They have done carbon dating of it. It dates from the 13th century. It's a forgery. Okay, the Turin shroud. Guys, do you know what Turin shroud is? Hashim and Mansoor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they try to use that and make long discussions to prove a point. Okay, that Jesus was in Kashmir, he died in Kashmir, and he was buried in Kashmir and all that.
Why India? Is it because he was born in India? That's the reason they wanted to make the connection to India.
No, let me explain. So remember, the Portuguese also came up with a Jesus in India theory. The Portuguese were on the west coast of India. They were colonizing, so they built a church. They said St. Thomas. They said, hey, we've been here for 1,000 years. St. Thomas was here. We're not stealing this land. It's our land. They made it all up. Right, so Nicholas Natovich, some Russian guy, writes a book, the Unknown Life of Jesus, and he says no, Jesus in his first 15 years, or from like age 8 to like 23, he was there in that era, and then he came back. So Mirza Ghulam Ahmad takes that, twists chapter 2350 of the Quran, which has the word Rabwa in it, and it's about the birth of Isa. Al-Islam, he was taken to a rabwa with his mom, and she gave birth, etc., etc. They said no, not just Isa. That they say Maryam also went to Kashmir because in that verse it mentions both of them being there. So
Allah mustaan,
Yeah, may Allah guide. May Allah guide these people. We have nothing but sympathy. We have nothing but prayers. We don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want to insult them. We don't want to humiliate them. All of these conversations are not to hurt them. We haven't insulted their prophet, the one they believe to be a prophet, although we believe he's a false prophet. Okay, so we don't insult him. Many Muslims do, and they shouldn't. The Quran is very categorical about this, that don't insult the false gods of others, lest they might insult your true God in ignorance. Okay, so I'm paraphrasing the Quran. So we should not insult anyone when having dialogues and discussions. You can use sarcasm to get your points across, so that people realize how naive they may be or how stupid they are when they make certain points. Sarcasm is not always bad. as long as it's not insulting or hurting the feelings. So we should not insult. My advice to all Muslims listening to me right now, please don't insult them, don't curse them, don't swear at them, because you endorse their perceptions that have been instilled in their minds by their murabbis and their teachers. Don't confirm and don't endorse those perceptions and conceptions. Please be kind, be gentle, be friendly, be loving, be compassionate, and you will see a change, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah. Okay, Brother Bashir, Jazakallah khair for your contribution.
Thank you so much. Allah
Assalamu
bless
alaikum,
you.
brother.
Hopefully,
Jazakallah
Adnan
khair.
can have a debate soon.
Yeah.
inshallah.